For over 20 years, Rockstar hasn't just released video games, it's released milestones. Cultural events that stop the industry dead in its tracks. Grand Theft Auto has always been built on chaos, satire, and adrenaline, while Red Dead Redemption became a reflective exploration of morality, empathy, and the human condition. Now with the most ambitious and expensive video game ever made, after internal change, rising expectations, and over a decade of anticipation, GTA 6 carries serious consequence for what Rockstar becomes next. With their reputation hanging in the balance, it offers our first look at how the company's ambitions evolved following the pivotal influence of Red Dead Redemption 2. To understand how that evolution could define Rockstar's future, we need to look at how Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead shaped the studio in fundamentally different directions. Rockstar didn't set out to create two competing identities, they emerged naturally, shaped by time, technology, and the kind of stories the studio wanted to tell. On one side, there's Grand Theft Auto, a series built on excess and freedom, where momentum matters more than reflection, and the world exists to be poked, prodded, and pushed to its limits, turning cities into playgrounds where the line between critique and absurdity is intentionally blurred. It's social commentary delivered at full speed, wrapped in spectacle and humour. On the other side, there's Red Dead Redemption, a series that moved in the opposite direction, where GTA escalates, Red Dead restrains. Where GTA thrives on noise, Red Dead makes space for silence. Not because it has less to say, but because it isn't in a hurry to say it. Red Dead worlds are built around reflection, around moral tension, and around the idea that every action and every decision is meant to carry weight. This split drew a defining line. While some preferred one style over another, many players, myself included, drifted between both, depending on what kind of experience we were chasing at the time. And that's an important distinction, because this isn't about one approach being better than another, it's about how Rockstar, over time, mastered both ideologies. Two franchises, two tones, and two creative instincts. But as each series evolved, so did the studio itself, pulled in different directions by what each game demanded and by what the players responded to. And that's where things really begin to get interesting, because when Rockstar releases a game, those creative choices don't just shape the experience, they ripple outward into culture itself. For 2 consecutive decades, Rockstar has operated in a space that most studios never reach, where a new release is beyond being anticipated, it's expected to redefine the entire gaming landscape. GTA 4 and GTA 5 set the tone for that success. They shattered launch records and dominated the wider media conversation in a way that few games ever have, across both the industry and entertainment as a whole. Red Dead Redemption followed a different trajectory, but left an equally lasting legacy. At a time when blockbuster games were increasingly chasing speed and spectacle, Red Dead took a different approach. It doubled down on detail, immersion, and atmosphere, and in doing so, reset expectations for what an open world could be. Even years later, new releases are still measured against it, judged by the definitive standards it set for both craftsmanship and storytelling. What matters here isn't which one sold more or which one players prefer, it's about these titles defining their era rather than blending into it. That's why the stakes surrounding GTA 6 feel so very different. It's the next statement from a studio whose games don't just succeed, they redefine success itself. By the time Red Dead Redemption 2 released, expectations for Rockstar were already high, but RDR2 then took that expectation and completely redefined it, delivering a profound and deeply immersive experience the likes of which we'd never seen. NPCs remembered you, animals behaved with purpose, and the environment reacted to time, weather, and consequence. Arthur Morgan wasn't just a memorable character, he was proof that Rockstar could present a mature and deeply human narrative while still retaining its mass appeal. And with GTA 6 introducing 2 protagonists whose romantic relationship sits at the centre of the story, it's signalling the exploration of character depth, perspective, and emotional complexity in ways the series historically avoided. In that sense, Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't just raise the bar technically, it expanded the studio's narrative range and internally marked the end of an era. For most of its modern history, Rockstar Games was shaped by a small group of dominant creative figures. Two names in particular came to symbolise that era: Dan Houser and Leslie Benzies. Together, they helped define Rockstar's identity throughout its most explosive period, an era marked by bold satire, escalating ambition, and a belief that bigger, louder, and more confrontational was always better. That philosophy produced undeniable results: games that shattered sales records, worlds that felt untouchable in scope, and a studio reputation built on excess, edge, and total creative control. But it also produced a culture that came with consequences. By the time Red Dead Redemption 2 was nearing completion, Rockstar was no longer just being evaluated by the quality of its games, but by the conditions under which they were made. Reports of extreme crunch, internal strain, and unsustainable workloads sparked a broader reckoning, not just for Rockstar, but for an entire industry closely watching it. Leslie Benzies had already left the studio years earlier, marking the first major fracture in that leadership structure. Dan Houser's departure followed after Red Dead Redemption 2, the same project that signalled a clear creative shift towards slower pacing, moral complexity, and introspective storytelling. And that timing isn't insignificant. Red Dead Redemption 2 feels, in retrospect, like both a culmination and a turning point. The most refined expression of Rockstar's old creative authority, and the moment they began questioning the limits of the model that produced it. What followed was a marked period of transition, driven by the need to adapt for a changing future. Rockstar began reshaping how it operated, and publicly committed to changes that would make large-scale development more sustainable. The company's ambition remained, but it started redefining how it could be carried forward. And that's the context that Grand Theft Auto 6 is being born into. This isn't the first major Rockstar game made without its original leadership, but it is the first one fully shaped by the aftermath of that cultural shift. Which means GTA 6 carries far more than just expectation alone. It's now carrying two creative philosophies, and the responsibility of deciding how they finally converge. So the question isn't whether GTA 6 is ambitious. That much is abundantly obvious. It's what that ambition is actually in service of. If GTA has always thrived on chaos, and Red Dead proved Rockstar could sustain something slower and more personal, then GTA 6 has an opportunity neither series has fully taken before, to let spectacle and intimacy coexist inside the same story. A romantic partnership at the centre doesn't change the structure, it changes the stakes. The satire can still bite, the world can still be absurd, but the emotional through line must have somewhere real to land, and pulling that off is much harder than just making a game bigger or louder. Rockstar has of course flirted with that balance in the past. GTA 4 pushed towards a dark and gritty tone while also holding onto the series' trademark sense of humour, but the two often felt at odds, and not fully resolved into a unified identity, the drama pulling one way and the comedy pulling the other, never quite meeting in the middle. While the story itself was deeply compelling, it showed that bridging these two elements wasn't just about creating atmosphere. It required a clear sense of intent and morality that's never been fully realised within the Grand Theft Auto universe. After everything Rockstar has built and everything it's left behind, GTA 6 becomes the first project where its priorities and values matter just as much as its technical ingenuity. And that's where this stops being about the industry and starts becoming personal. Somewhere along the way, Rockstar stopped just being a studio I like, and instead became a defining timeline. Not in a parasocial fanboy way, but in the way that certain releases end up attached to real chapters of your life. You don't just remember the game, you remember who you were when you played it. And that's why this next installment in the series really matters. Because when GTA 6 arrives, it isn't landing on a blank slate. It's landing into decades of history, and millions of players carrying their own private Rockstar story. Late nights with the boys, exploration rabbit holes, and soundtracks so memorable they transport you to a different time and place. For me, it's about how modern Rockstar titles hit in two different directions. GTA was always the switch that flicked my brain into pure escapism. Fast, loud, reckless, and hilarious. It's the kind of world where rules melt away and everything feels possible. Red Dead was something else entirely. It didn't just entertain me, it inspired me in a very profound way, changing my outlook on life and my appreciation of the people within it. I don't say that to crown one above the other, I say it because GTA 6 represents the first time that Rockstar is standing at the intersection of both philosophies. And if carefully balanced, those two elements combined could mark Grand Theft Auto's greatest experience yet. With that achieved, it'll be more than just another entry in the series. It'll be a statement about what Rockstar is now and what it still believes games can mean to people in a world that won't stop evolving. So whatever camp you come from, GTA or Red Dead, I think this memorable moment belongs to all of us. Because if Rockstar ever marked a chapter in your life, then this next chapter is going to be worth paying attention to.